Are you a Jesus-loving woman who overexercises and deprives herself of food, desperately trying to obtain a goal weight on the scale? And yet, at the same time, you strive to be a healthy version of yourself by eating well and feeling fit? Hi, I'm Andrea, and I was running on the same hamster wheel for over 20 years. My toxic body image and eating disorder stole my joy and self-respect. Thankfully, God was always with me, fighting my battles and blessing me with the grit to reclaim my life. I'm off the hamster wheel, but I see you still stuck in the cage, and I want to help free you too. Journey with me every week. I'll share personal stories, tools, mindset shifts, and the practical steps I took to heal my unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. I don't believe food and exercise are the problems. I believe they're part of the solution. Instead, I'll teach you how your mindset and faith are the keys to healing. Get ready to navigate your newfound path to healing. Get ready to reclaim your self-worth. Get ready to realign with your God-given identity. For in this identity is where you find true wellness and healing. When you are well, your gifts shine into the world. Shine on, babe. Let's do this. I'm Andrea Carroll, and this is Good Vanilla. Hey, pretty peeps. I'm quickly popping in here before we get rolling to communicate that I am not giving medical advice. I'm giving energetic, emotional, and mental support for women on their health journeys. I'm here because I care. I hope sharing my story will in some way help you on your unique path. Okay, let's dive in. Hey there, friend. Thank you for hanging out with me today. It is an honor to have your ears. Last week, we talked about my 3-step process for regulating triggers. Number 1 was stop. Number 2 was stillness. Number 3 was surrender. And I shared what each of these meant and how I have used these recently in a trigger moment that I have had. And if you are new here, it would be best to go back and listen to that previous episode so you know exactly what I'm talking about with this 3-step process. And even further, if you are needing more support with triggers, go back even a number of episodes because I have recorded quite a few now on triggers. But this 3-step process that I'm talking about, stop, stillness, surrender, it's great, but here's the thing. How do you apply it in your life? How would you take this and use it? You can't just expect in the next trigger moment that you have, you can't expect yourself just to automatically be able to go into the stop, stillness, surrender. You have to prepare and plan so that you are ready when the next trigger strikes. And it's kind of, for example, we don't expect, I can't expect myself just to walk into the kitchen and whip up this elaborate meal when I've never cooked before in my life, right? We have to practice. If we want to be good at something, we need to practice. We need to practice so that instinct takes over. So that is the same thing with triggers. Because in the moment, when a trigger hits, it's too late. If you're not ready, you're not going to be able, your mind is going to be frazzled. It's going to be a jarbled mess. And you're going to say, oh yeah, what was the first step again? Oh gosh, okay, I'm freaking out. And in that, it just doesn't work. So what we have to do is plan and prepare while you're calm. So what I would do if I were you, and this is something I have used a number of times, and it's actually something I learned using with my oldest daughter. We have needed to work on regulating emotions, and there are tools to regulate emotions, kind of like we were talking about in here. And the same thing was told to us. We cannot expect her just to turn on these, like to utilize these tools if she doesn't practice them when she's calm. So we would practice her tools when she's calm over and over and over again. And even as the parent, because when I would be in a situation with her and her emotions are just firing through the roof, it made me flustered too. And then I couldn't think of what steps I was supposed to follow. So that is the same thing here. Give yourself a little grace. Give yourself a little credit. So don't put yourself down if whenever you're having those moments of anxiety and panic that you're thinking, oh, I just can't do this. I'm no good at it. Because that's not the truth. The truth is you just haven't practiced yet. So keep that in mind. Kind of, like I said, you're not going to be expected to be able to just, I don't know, if you've never quilted before in your life, or if you've never played a sport, if you've never, anything, you can't expect to just be able to do it, and especially in a stressful situation, that's not fair. So first of all, give yourself a little bit of grace. Don't put yourself down. Just prepare, allow yourself to prepare. So what you're going to do, and this is the action step this is an action step that you should do in this episode, is you're going to get out a journal or a piece of paper, whatever. And I want you to write down the 3 steps of working through a trigger moment, which was, so write down number 1 is stop. Then leave some space underneath that, kind of like journal out your plan, leave some space to write. And then number 2, write stillness and leave some space under stillness to write. And then 3 is surrender, and then have some space there. And go back up to number 1 and ask yourself, okay, in the moments when I am starting to spiral and unravel, what do I need to tell? What is a good thing when I say stop? What is something else I can add to this that will really get my attention to snap myself out of the harmful talk? So write down what would best be suited for you, and to kind of jar you out of the spiral and get your mind focused on that you're going to stop. Okay? So you can pause this and work on that, or after this episode is over too, you can journal out as well. Then in number 2 is stillness. In stillness, it can be anything. Okay, what's your plan for stillness? Are you going to take 5 deep breaths? Are you going to say a prayer? Are you actually going to go for a walk? Are you going to do like a yoga pose that's really, really relaxing, or just makes you feel really grounded in the moment? You need to choose something, like what is your stillness? And you're probably going to need to give yourself some options for when you are in a public place versus in like at home. Obviously, I don't think you're just going to want to like break out a yoga pose in the buffet line or the Target line. Maybe you don't want to, but maybe you do. That's okay. I would like to see that actually. So go ahead and do that. But have those options for when you are home and when you are away, for stillness. Because a lot of times what it's going to have to be is just kind of those things that you're saying to yourself, and you're actually being able to be still. So that's why I like doing deep breaths. But at this point, write down what your plan is for stillness. Then number 3, surrender. My surrender is, I like to say, God is in control. If He is for me, who can be against me? I like to do that. Like, I surrender my control to God, that I don't need to figure out anything in this situation. This situation, the trigger is not in control of me. I'm not even in control. Like, that feels kind of good sometimes when you're grasping for control, to realize it's not really attainable. Like, it's not really yours to have, but it's not your triggers either. Give it to God. So here, write down, what is your plan for surrendering? Is there a certain Bible verse you'd like to say? And once again, is there a certain prayer you'd like to say? Would you just like to say, Jesus, hold me. Jesus, hold my hand. Or just Jesus. Because when you say His name, you will feel His presence. But write down what your plan is. And when you have, and this doesn't have to be long and laborious, okay? This needs to be something that's actionable and something that's realistic, something that you're actually going to be able to implement, okay? When you have that written down, go through it. Go through the steps in real time. So however long it would take you, try to visualize yourself in that situation at a trigger moment. Visualize yourself saying stop, and then run through what your plan is with stop. It's that stop, to get yourself just to stop spiraling, stop over catastrophizing, stop doing the harmful habit. And then 2 is the stillness, and then surrender. Read through that and go through it. And once you get to the stillness, practice it out. If it entails physically doing something, do it. You have to go through the motions when you're calm. If you expect instinct to take over, you have to do this now. Okay? I coach my daughter's 3rd grade basketball team. And it's a lot of fun. My dad used to coach me in basketball for many years. And when we were young, he would always say, you play like you practice. And I love that so much. It's kind of this mantra for life, really. I always thought, I only thought it in, it pertained to basketball or sports, because playing and practicing, it's sports, right? But this is the game of life, folks, okay? You need to practice living too. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. So you play like you practice, friend, okay? You get your plays set up. You have your strategy. Your strategy and a trigger moment to regulate yourself. Stop. Stillness. Surrender. Get that down on paper. Practice it as many times as you need. And that's another thing too. When I was working with my daughter on her tools, we had to do these things, I think it was like twice a day for at least 2 weeks. And you need to do something routine like that in order for it to become a habit and for the instinct to kick in. For it just to be like a snap of a finger, you can just initiate. It's like ready to go. I got my tools, I'm ready to go. So that is what I want you to do, to take the information from the last episode, and this is how to really apply it to your life and to utilize it, to set it up as a tool for you in your game of life. Okay? If there is any aspect of the 3-step process that you have any questions on, feel free to reach out to me. Share, and then too, I would love to hear what did you write underneath stop, stillness, and surrender? What are your things that you're going to go to? What's going to work for you? Share that with me. I'd love to hear it. I mean, we can all help each other out here, because it's not like I don't have triggers anymore. I have triggers all the time, and this is my process for not letting it take over my day and ruin my day. Okay? All right, friend. You have a great day, and you can tackle this. You got it. Practice it. Practice it. Practice it. You play like you practice. Bye. Psst. Hey girl, I gotta tell you something. Did you know your eating disorder is keeping secrets from you? Yeah, it's a total butthead. But don't worry, I'm here for you. In fact, I created a freebie for you to download. It's the 4 secrets your eating disorder doesn't want you to know. And these are 4 things that I wish I would have known years ago, back when I felt like I just could not get my head above the water, no matter how hard I tried. I felt like wave after wave was crashing on me. These are the secrets that have really set me free, knowing these truths about myself. And they are things your eating disorder is trying to keep from you so it can keep control over you. Don't stay in the dark, friend. The link is in the show notes. Go download it now. Go download it now and start working through it and feel yourself free. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. If this episode resonated with you or helped you in any way, please tell me how. Email me at hello@andreacaro.com. That's HELLO@ANDREACAROW.com. Also, if there's a specific topic around eating disorders and body image you'd like to hear an episode on, let me know. Your voice deserves to be heard, and I'm here to listen. If you'd like to hear more from me, follow me on Instagram at Andrea_Caro. Friend, please help others like you by sharing this episode and leaving me a review on Apple Podcast. Doing so will help me reach others who so desperately need this message of hope. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.